Coming to you live from Alola's Battle Royale Dome, it's the one, the only PUCL Battlecast.
Hello and welcome to episode 32 of the Battlecast. I'm your host, Seth Vilo, with a crazy month. It's the culmination of the Sword and Shield era, pretty much, as far as we know, anyway. And I've got two brilliant folks here to talk about what is now the full and complete, to our knowledge, Gen 8 meta. First of all, we've got the one, the only. All 8 of them couldn't make it, but we got the 9th one, Clod9.
Hello! How diddly do.
And joining with us as well is the illustrious P McGee.
Hello, hello.
Awesome. It's good to have you guys here. It's good to have the big brains of Battlecast trying to figure out what on earth is going on with this meta, because it's wacky. So the topic, as you figured, is going to be talking about like everything that dropped. And just because of the nature of how things drop, for the most part, it's going to be largely OU-focused. Spoiler alert, you know, that's how it goes. But other than that, how have you guys been handling this? How'd your run go? Have you completed the story at least?
Yeah, I'm all done with the story.
Which horse did you pick?
I picked the ghost horse because I thought, this will be the fun horse.
Uh-huh.
And I believe I had made a mistake.
How about you, McGee?
I have the ghost horse as well. I also got Regieleki. I do not regret that decision. I think.
No, I got Regidrago, and I feel great for my choices, and I love it.
So I'm kind of the hybrid between you guys. I ended up going with Glacestrier and Regidrago.
Okay.
Part of me wishes Eleki was what I wanted, because it's just such a funnier meme than Drago. It's just better Guzzlord in a sense. But Eleki is its own thing on its own. So, oh well. Dagnabbit.
Oh well.
But yeah, now I've got to get the stupid birds. They're somewhere.
That was a fun little thing.
I like the birds.
Uh-huh.
That took all of like 30 minutes for each bird.
Really?
To find
for each bird?
Well, I have the worst catch luck out there, or one of them. Because I gave up on Articuno after a while and just threw a Master Ball because it was hailing, and I couldn't bring it down enough, and so I just threw a Master Ball.
And Galarian Articuno can't really sit in the hail anymore, so that sucks.
Oh yeah, you're right. It can't.
It just kind of dies after a while.
Huh. I didn't realize that. Oh, they're so weird. Zapdos is stupid. I hate Galarian Zapdos.
Oh, that's probably,
so much.
I'm excited about Galarian Zapdos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to talk about that one some more because I like all of what Zapdos does.
I like base form. It's even cooler. The Galarian one just looks angry.
I mean, it is angry. It runs away from chasing it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen a couple YouTube clips where it's just like it outspeeds the bike almost.
Yeah, you have to like chase it down with the bike. It's a weird little foot race.
Yeah, you have to like tire it out first.
Really? Oh, I'm so excited to do this. I haven't gotten quite there yet. I've been distracted with real life things, but oh my gosh, this sounds so fun. Oh my gosh. Well, this will be good. This is a good segue to hop into it because we're enjoying the actual game itself, but now all the ramifications of everything that came from the drop. So we're going to hop over to tier time. Like I mentioned before, it's going to be a little bit abbreviated, but we'll see you on the other side.
It's tier time.
And we're back with abbreviated tier time. We're going to start from the top with something that actually is having a lot of things happen. Ubers, because all of them are back. So, of course, we're going to have things happening now. And it is a post-apocalyptic hellscape up in Ubers right now. It is terrible because in combination with all of the Ubers coming back, they have also disabled the Dynamax clause, meaning you can Dynamax whatever you want to.
Oh, God.
There was previous that rule that was like if it was Ubers already, like if it was deemed Ubers, something like Dialga, it wasn't allowed to. But if it wasn't, something like a Kangaskhan, then it was allowed to. Mm-hmm. But no, anything now can Dynamax. So, yeah. And within like 1 or 2 weeks, they're going to actually suspect test the Dynamax feature in Ubers. So this might be the final tier that it has existed and will finally be gone from
singles.
Now that we actually have Ubers.
Then you got to go to your
singles.
randoms for your Dynamax.
Yeah, random battles or battle spot singles or VGC.
Mm-hmm. I think randoms might be the last Smogon one with it soon.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
It's a really good ability. Like, being able to double your health and boost the power and get extra abilities on all of your moves.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that would be pretty good?
I know, right? It's crazy.
Like, I know people didn't like Z moves last gen, but because it made certain mons too powerful. But Dynamax is basically that, but more with health.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And it's too much for a singles metagame, especially now that we have actual real-life Ubers instead of just, like, 5 of them.
Yes.
So, this is actually
I remember the days where it was just Zacian and, what was it?
Yeah.
Zamazenta
and Eternatus.
I mean, Zamazenta was there by default, but he wasn't really doing much. No,
he still isn't.
It's only getting worse and worse for Zamazenta.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people want it to drop to OU, either the regular hero form or the crowned form. But that's not going to happen.
No,
it's still bonkers.
It would be way too good.
Yeah. But a couple other extra new things have hit Ubers, and that namely is the Calyrex Rider forms, the Shadow Rider and the Ice Rider. And if anyone has Mega Rayquaza flashbacks, this is that time, because Calyrex Shadow Rider is a lot like Mega Rayquaza levels. That might actually end up getting Uber's suspect tested and might be banished to anything goes at this point, because only a couple of things can even kind of handle it.
Yes, but the big difference, though, is that at least Calyrex Shadow Rider can be killed in one hit. You can't one-shot Mega Rayquaza.
That is true.
It's like almost physically impossible.
Yeah, so long as you have the right move, which fortunately it has a double weakness to Sucker Punch, and we now have Yveltal back. And
Sucker Punch, any dark move, it kind of dies to.
Yeah, or Shadow Sneak even if you have that. So it has ways to get around it, but it also is immune to things like Extreme Speed. So
it's very powerful. I don't like it.
It's wacky powerful, and even some of its counters might not work. Yeah. Like some people are starting to run special defensive Tyranitar, but that falls to a Grass Knot or Pollen Puff. Like, it can choose its counters.
Yeah, the fact that it gets Calyrex's moveset makes it so much better.
Yeah. So we're seeing a lot more Yveltal in general, be that a bulky, a choice band, a defog, or whatever, but all of them will have Sucker Punch for Calyrex Shadow Rider specifically. So that's something. But if you want to take advantage of the fact that you're weak to dark, there's another option, and that's the other Calyrex, the Ice Rider. And let me clue you in on a little thing on, because some people were thinking, oh, that's bad enough to be OU. It could be. Did you know that Choice Band Urshifu's super effective Wicked Blow barely one-shots uninvested Ice Rider form Calyrex?
Oh, God.
Yeah,
barely.
Yeah. Nope.
So if you put any investment in it, Choice Band Wicked Blow won't knock it out.
Gross.
So yeah, that thing's not touching OU. Sorry, folks. I thought it might too, but here we are. Now that we did some math, no. But with that in mind, with how stupid bulky that thing is, Trick Room weakness policy, baby.
Yeah, Trick Room weakness policy, and that's the main thing that we see in VGC with the other Calyrex, or even OU that I'm running with, what's it, Glastrier.
Oh, Glastrier, yeah.
Yeah, it's super good in Trick Room.
He is very hard to remove in one turn, and he pretty much guarantees he's going to KO whatever's trying to 1-hit KO him, because if you're using a fire or a steel, he's got high horsepower to bop you. So it's not a...
Yep.
Taking Glastrier one-on-one, even outside of Trick Room, is not very fun, because you probably have to sack the thing you brought in.
Yeah. And Calyrex gets arguably the best physical move in the game in what is it? Ice Lance?
Ice Lance or something?
Something along those lines. 130 base power, 100% accuracy, 0 drawback.
Yeah, perfect. So
just other than its power points.
Yeah, power points is at 8 of them.
Yeah. So that is equally stupid. It's not warping the meta around itself like Shadow Rider is, because speed is important, y'all, but it's very, very good. So another thing that's rising up is Scarf Kyogre specifically, because it can outrun and one-shot Shadow Rider Calyrex. So that's popping up.
Scarf, Water Spout.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Whoa.
And, I mean, the other Ubers are back doing their same thing. Dialga's a bulky stealth rock setter. Ho-Oh is amazing defensively and offensively. Like,
Palkia
a lot of the old faces
trying
return.
to do things.
Palkia might actually rise up as a Kyogre counter. We might have Palkia back now that
No.
now that the what are they?
Palkia
Primals are gone.
Well, yes, but it needed the Z move to do anything last gen, and it needs Dynamax to kill anything or survive or set rain or anything. So
Kinda sorta. To quote Thatch, back in Gen 4, I know that Palkia was the Kyogre counter. So
yes, it was.
Wait, how can it
might be a good thing to run alongside
150 special attack? How is that not taking things down?
It's Ubers. Everything else has higher. 150 is tiny. It's like a Cheerio compared to like a Kit Kat bar. There's a difference.
I thought it was like one of those things where I had like 150s in the defense and like a 95 special attack. This thing still has some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Good for Palkia. I feel like he was underrepresented in Gen 4.
It's one of my favorite legends. Gets no love.
Gross. You're one of those people. Dialga's better. Team time.
No. Team space.
Anyway, moving along, shattering space-time itself, we're actually going to skip a tier. We're skipping the OU tier for tier time because that's basically what the topic is going to be all about. So, again, shattering space-time. Claude, tell us about UU.
So, this month they banned Lycanroc. Dusk form. Yeah.
No surprise.
Dusk form? Yeah.
It did a lot. It was on a lot of teams. It was faster than a lot. It can kill a lot.
It was an even in OU, it's an infuriating like suicide lead with Rocks and Dever, because it basically takes something to the grave with it.
It's almost the fear Rattata strategy.
Yes.
Almost. Yeah. But other than that, UU got Necrozma, which is kind of cool, because Necrozma is interesting, I guess.
It had been there a little bit before, but then it started to see hype on hyper offense teams in OU, so it went up, and now it's back down. That was the only thing really that dropped, though.
Yeah, but I mean, they're being very quiet with it simply because of, Crown Tundra dropping, and we're going to get a lot of new toys. Like, I expect the Nidos to drop to UU.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially Zygarde 10% will probably drop. Maybe Aegislash will drop back down again.
Ugh. How is this possible? What world are we in? Aegislash and UU.
They did announce that all of UUBL will be freed following November 1st, the tier update, so that way they can retest everything.
Well, that's good. Diggersby gets to get kicked out again.
We will
it'll be like the third time this year.
Well, it depends.
Celesteela might drop, and that's a good Diggersby stop.
No, Celesteela's
That's true.
Dropping.
It could. It's overshadowed by Corviknight almost completely.
I disagree, but yes. Okay.
Yeah, it might. I don't know. Aegislash is down here, Claude.
I know. I mean, Aegislash is... It's just
Oh, yeah. Anyway, they're not doing any suspect tests in UU for a couple weeks until at least the middle of November. They're going to let things settle out and see what happens after the mid-November tier shift, because they're doing a second one mid-November across all tiers again. So, we'll see.
Yeah. They'll probably... I think they'll do this for a while, is basically go down the tiers of, we'll release everything, and then test it again. Like, they're going to do, I think, UU for... UU for November. I expect them to do RU in December, because I can count my months.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm sure it'll be like that for a lot of them. Anyway, McGee, tell me about the next tier. Are you for me?
Yeah, a few more things are going on over there, but overall, again, still really quiet. Sigilyph did not survive the suspect test. He's gone. So see you later. Kingdra's fallen all the way down to RU. Rain is not... There's other rain options. Even before Crown Tundra dropped, there was other rain options, so Kingdra wasn't always being as used as it needed to be. Sun took off again, so Kingdra and rain in general kind of fell down. So Kingdra's lost some standing. Rhyperior, great in OU, great at stopping a lot of substitutes. I would know because my Togekiss does not have a very good time facing Rhyperior. So I know for a fact Rhyperior is very effective at blocking subs. So I'm not surprised he made his way up. Banded sets are horrifying. He's got rocks and good support. He's hard to take down. So again, not surprising. Galarian Slowbro got booted out as well. I think he's only moved to UU. I don't think he's OU. But
yeah, he just moved up one tier.
Gosh, is he annoying to deal with. I mean, some games, every time I've used him, I've gone nowhere. Every time I face him, he gets 3 KOs against me because he just keeps getting the Quick Claw activation or the Quick Draw activation, and it's just infuriating. Basically, that's what he does. I guess you can do some support sets with Slowbro, but that offensive Slowbro is just so hard to deal with, and it can break so many things open just because a lot of the speedy things don't have good defenses, so when they lose the speed battle, it's a real bad place for them. So Rhyperior's absence definitely removed some of the stealth rock that was going on over there, which was checking Sigilyph a bit. Another reason Sigilyph is gone. Slowbro was making Virizian's life tough, but again, Slowbro's gone, so Virizian's not minding it. Golbat's returned, so that'll be interesting. I don't know. I guess I never used Golbat before, but I imagine Golbat with Eviolite was pretty tough to deal with.
Defogger.
It's one of Thatch's favorites in Draft League, I know. It's actually surprisingly effective. And since it's not fully evolved, it's not bound by the normal rules of everything lands in OU first and then drops from there. Golbat kind of breaks that rule because he can go anywhere he wants for at least a little bit.
That's exciting. Good for Golbat.
I think he's starting in RU because that's where he was last year.
That makes sense.
No, I think it's starting at the very bottom. Like it's I've heard it's mentioned in all of the threads. Yeah, it's untiered essentially.
Oh,
okay.
That's not going to last. But,
no, it'll be good in NU. Guaranteed it'll be good in NU.
I can believe that. And then some spice that's going on because the thing that happened with Crown Tundra, so this really only affected 4 Pokemon that were currently in the metagame, but it was a huge impact for a couple of them. We got the ability capsule or whatever it was called, the ability patch. Patch, which allows the Abomination fossils from this generation to get their speed boosting ability. So Arctozolt now has Slush Rush, and that garbage speed stat it normally has is now very scary to deal with because it can get rolling there. So it can set its own hail. I don't know how far Aurorus falls, but Aurorus and Arctozolt might be buddies before long, and that'll be interesting because Aurorus can set the Aurora Veil. And so that'll be a brutal combination to deal with. And so some Arctozolts with Life Orb, and then a little mix set with Bolt Beak, Icicle Crash. They can maybe set their own Hail or Low Kick if they don't like some of the steals that are around, and then Freeze Dry for some of the checks that might exist just to obliterate them. So Arctozolt's having a really good time right now. And it's probably going to keep having a good time. I know the same thing. We'll talk about it later. The same thing's kind of going on with Dracozolt and OU. Not to the same degree, but it is having some fun in the sand. And that's basically what's going on in RU. It'll be a much livelier month as some of the things find new homes.
Yep, exactly. All right. So, Claude, you had two smallish tiers. Tell me about NU. What's going on there?
So NU is more like Ninjask used tier. Because it's all about Ninjask, and I mean, like, it is a warping, defining meta Pokemon, as weird as that is to say, because it's fast, and like you can't really run a Scarper because because it got dual wing beat and has Sword Stance and heavy duty boots, it became good enough to play here, especially because NU keeps losing, they keep losing all of their Steel types, because I know each of them keep getting pushed up because they end up being too good. But we recently lost Sneasel as a ban, which was a counter with Ice Shard. And Snorlax dropped down from RU, then was immediately banned. But we lost Decidueye recently, which was another very powerful mon in NU. And now Escavalier has dropped. So we have something else that can take, I think, one hit. maybe.
Oh, it should be able to take a hit.
Yeah, at least
It's a
one.
Scavalier.
At least one. So there's but that's it. There's not a lot they're looking at right now for it. I mean, Goldbat I think will have a nice home here in NU because it counters and stops Ninjask fairly well.
Yeah, among other things too, just because it's bulky as heck.
Yeah, it's
A lot of this Ninjask discussion was happening before Crown Tundra dropped.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't get anything in NU because I think a lot of them on started in OU and they'll all move out after November. So it's been the same NU for a month, but
yep.
that's
It's
pretty
been quiet.
much it. It's a quiet meta.
Uh-huh. And so now we'll head on over to the last tier, PU, and a lot of things moved around here, so let's go over them. These are the things that were banned. Sock, Galvantula, Silvally Dark, and Executor, which started off early this month as being unbanned, and then they rebanned it. Other things that were PUBL or whatever that came back down were Bouffalont, Kangaskhan, Kling-Klang, Silvally Bug, Silvally Poison, and Berserker, which is kind of coming down. The last one, Berserker, is coming down as kind of an experiment. It might still centralize things because it was banned, but it might also add a lot of utility, especially once these tier shifts happen, so that'll be fun. A couple other things dropped, a whole slew of things dropped from NU to PU. There was way too many lists that are largely inconsequential. Rain is getting good down here with no auto setters really, but you can set it yourself with actual Rain Dance. Things with Prankster and Rain Dance can get it really going. Another thing that left, though, was Tangela. Just it had too much usage. So, yeah, Galvantula and Sock were particularly terrifying. Both of them came down and just kind of beat the tier to a pulp. There aren't many bug resists down here, so Galvantula came in and got rid of them. Sock was just stupid with Choice Band, so that's a thing. Alcremie is seeing a lot of traction. It can do bulky Calm Mind, or anything else really, and it can kind of pick its counters depending on its last coverage moves. Mystical Fire, Psychic, things like that. You can choose on those and really pick what actually gets a chance to stop you. The Corsola Galar, and Cursola together are doing really well down here. Corsola because it's really good at stalling, as I would know, until home dropped. It was incredibly good because everything got knockoff back, so wah. But Corsola is doing fantastic. Cursola, on the other hand, has 0 switch-ins, so it's on the radar because it might be too powerful for here. But again, a lot of this has a big old fat asterisk at the end of it because we'll see in 3 weeks when things are a little bit more settled out. Yeah, Quagsire is down here and doing well on Rain as well as Stall. Runa Regis is doing a lot in conjunction with Corsola. The two of them are being looked at as the powerful ghosts down here. Runa Regis is having a lot of fun with Iron Defense, Body Press, and Rest as a set, and then
Gross.
Fill in whatever you want in the back. Yeah, it's gross. It feels like Stack Attacka, which I'm really excited for. Then, as far as Crown Tundra influence, there are a couple of not fully evolved that are making a little bit of influence impact down here. Combuskin, because it's basically miniature Blaziken. That'll be banned soon. Mm-hmm. Magmar has Vital Spirit as an ability, which lets it actually be a check to Lilligant, which is something this tier was wanting. Metang gives some good Stealth Rock support, and Gabite is a lot like Runa Regis, but it's different in that it doesn't fall to what Electrics can run for coverage now, which is things like Shadow Ball, Jolteon, for instance. It doesn't fall to that. It can actually absorb a hit and fight back. So that is PU, really. It'll collapse here in a little bit when all this stuff drops. So yeah, that is the summary of the tiers, other than the big glaring one that we are going to go over here on the other side of this break. So we will be right back with the topic. Hello everybody, this is Seth Milo, cutting in between segments just to say this. So we recorded this show on Tuesday of this week, and turns out on Wednesday, Smogon took action, and both Genesect and Naganodel are now banned from OU. So we didn't capture that in the show this month, but just know that that was kind of our frame of mind as we recorded this episode. So we hope you still enjoy, we hope you listen around, and just know that you can't use Genesect and Naganodel. So see you guys on the other side.
And now for our main topic.
And we're back with the secondary midnight dystopian tier that is OU now, which is where all of the big bads have dropped, in addition to a lot of big bads that were previously completely banned and not allowed in the tier. They unshackled a whole lot of them that were either Uber already or Uber in previous generations, so I don't have a list of them in front of me, but I know a couple.
I mean, literally, the whole list we're about to go through is all the ones that were previously banned and got unbanned. But basically, if they were not auto banned in Gen 8, like, so anything that was suspect tested and banned is back, with the exception of Darmanitan and Dracovish. Those are the only two that didn't get. Those are the only two that didn't get released, which makes sense. As much as I like Dracovish, he wasn't coming back. He got kicked out of
as well as other broken, really, really broken things like Arena Trap, Shadow Tag, Moody. The obviously busted things are not back.
Yeah.
So
Libero is, though. Libero is back with Cinderace.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because there's more broken stuff right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Even that was a controversial suspect test, but
I can't even tell you the last time I saw Cinderace on the ladder.
No, it's dead
I
right
kind of
now.
am with you. Yeah. So anyway, well, let's start from the top, because we want to go over each one of the big, ugly, bad things that we think are not long for this tier, and we'll just have a little discussion on them, because this is the Wild West out here, folks. And I'm going to say, as much as it kind of feels funny for a couple of these for them to be unbanned and in OU, because people, why did we do this? We're wasting our time. I'm personally happy that they're attempting to see what happens, so long as they're able to maybe quick ban or do a abbreviated suspect test to get the obviously bad things out.
There are a couple. I'm glad they're doing some suspect testing, but there are some, like probably the first one or two we'll talk about, that were a little like, maybe not.
Yeah, I'm glad we get a couple weeks to try it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm glad it's happening. I think there's 5 that shouldn't stay, but I'm sure there'll be some hierarchy of what those should be, and I'm sure some disagreement, but I think there's 5 that I'm really not liking in the tier.
Yeah. Yep. So let's start with the things that really bug us. And the 2 actual insects that are unbanned.
You're
Genesect
right.
and
Pheromosa. What?
Yeah. Blaziken the bug. But no. Pheromosa and Genesect are unbanned. They are back. They are doing their thing. So you tell me about Pheromosa, McGee. I have not seen a lot of that.
So yeah, it's slowing down a little bit because the meta is so actively reacting to it. And we'll talk about this more because I'm in love with Moltres right now, but it has no answers for certain things, like it. But otherwise, like things that were checking before. So like back in the day, something like Zygarde could drop a sub, and there's nothing Pheromosa could do other than U-turn out to try to break the sub, but if you invested right, Pheromosa couldn't do that. But now it's got triple axle, so you can very reliably break the sub on the first triple axle, and as long as you hit the next 2, Zygarde's gone. So things that were sitting on it before because like they had a sub in front of them and they felt safe, they've lost that. But it also has close combat too, so there's no risk for high jump kick.
Which is what I'm seeing. Like I still see Ice Beam Pheromosas.
Ice Beam is pretty common still. But just the fact that like if you're running into problems, it has new solutions. So if everything's protecting on you, and you can't high jump kick reliably anymore, no worries. You can close combat now. If you keep running into subs, you just start icicle or triple axling and you're breaking the subs and breaking through them. So it's got new toys, and those new toys are just making it scarier.
So fast. Like it can break so incredibly well.
Yeah, it's 151, right? I think
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fast, and I don't like it.
Yeah,
but I dislike this other thing even more.
Tell me about it. Tell me about the other bug.
Oh my god, Genesect. So this mythical bug from Gen 5 is the most busted thing out there. Because you can run almost any item, and it has a variety of sets that are all broken. I think number one being Choice Band, where it gets U-turn extreme speed, Iron Head, insert other move you want here. And that can just break down a team through pivoting or just revenge killing things immediately.
I'm at the point where I have things that have like equal defenses, and I'm throwing the extra 4 into defense so that it activates a special attack as opposed to or regular attack boost when it comes in, just so I don't get that. Just because it when it gets the double boost like that, it just grows. Like it's like 700 attack for like the Jolly sets.
Yeah,
it's stupid.
That and it can also. I've seen Life Orb sets be popular where it runs mixed with Flamethrower and Thunderbolt, so it can actually revenge and kill everything. Like I've seen it take down Magnazones. I've seen it run Shift Gear to set up and just start sweeping through things. I think McGee, you saw a bunch of Dubious Discs or Dubious
Douse Drive.
Douse
Drives, because things like Heatran and Moltres were checking it pretty well, especially the physical sets, and so it's like, okay, I'll solve that real quick because of course I can.
Yep.
And
because it's busted. And this, like,
at the cost of the item slot, you have a 120 base power water move.
I think this has been Uber's since Gen 5. I don't remember them bringing it back in Gen 6 or Gen 7. Like, let's try it
briefly.
Now. They did?
It's already been kicked out of doubles OU and monotype, so it's not feeling long for this world.
No.
Each generation, it's touched OU, and that's why there's that meme picture in the Smogon threads where it's that fish from SpongeBob, where it's like, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Because it's...
They try it for a week, realize, no, and let it go.
No, it's still bad.
Has the meta created enough counters? And the answer has been no for 10 years.
Always no. Yeah. Pro tip for you guys, while it's still able to be run, always run Shiny Genesect on your teams, because there are 2 moves that are still locked to the Shiny form only. Those 2 moves are Shift Gear and Extreme Speed. If you don't run Shiny, they know what you can't have.
I don't think Smogon does that, though. I think you can be either one on Smogon.
If you're,
no, you cannot, because I've made the mistake. I've been, they have a thing to correct it, and because of course Gen 8 added another solution for it. We have Nature Mints now, so it doesn't even get locked into the nature it was when it was that shiny. So you can make it whatever you want to fill the role. I can remember the nature, but it's no longer confined to that nature, so it can remember whatever the team needs.
But the moves are, and in order to not concede any information to your opponent of the set that you're running, always run Shiny Genesect for the next week that it's available to be run in OU. Hopefully.
Who knows? Maybe by the time this comes out, it'll be banned.
Maybe, but we're going to move on to the next red Pokemon from Shiny Genesect to the Colonel himself, Speedy Chicken Blaziken, which I've seen a couple of, and that is terrifying.
Yep.
It's very one-dimensional. It's very single-minded. Its moveset is always Swords Dance, Close Combat, Flare Blitz, filler. Usually it's been Thunder Punch in my experience, and they usually also have Tapu Koko with it.
I've seen
that makes a lot of sense.
I've seen some Stone Edges, and I've seen some Earthquakes for Toxapex.
Yeah. Those are the moves, though.
But
Thunder Punch makes sense, because Thunder Punch hits the flying and it hits the Pex, and those are like the big things that are checking it.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Who would have thought that speed boost on a 120 attack power mon would be good?
Yeah. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this might be okay. Maybe. It might be one of the more lethal things in the tier, but I personally think it could actually manage to survive. I don't think it will be quick banned. This seems like something that really needs the suspect test, because it needs the Life Orb, and with things like Tank Garchomp that are now starting to run Endure as well. So it takes the Life Orb damage, it takes the Flare Blitz damage, because you probably switched it in on that. Then it takes Rough Skin and Rocky Helmet on it.
Yeah. So
you're tearing 60% of this thing's health off just for touching you.
Blaziken
there are ways around it.
Struggles with ground types. And even and I've seen a lot of Swampert play recently, which counters this entirely. So
Swampert is busted. It's so cool.
All right, so
we'll get to that in a
busted.
minute.
It's just doing normal Swampert wall things. But Blaziken is very good in this current meta, because all the things that we're going to talk about are a little frail, and that just deal a lot of damage. And when there's a lot of glass cannons around, things that can beat glass cannons do well.
Yep.
So,
and it got close combat, so it doesn't have the risk of a high jump kick anymore.
Yeah, but that's less power. And are you?
I mean,
By 10.
It's 130 to 120, and with the life orb and all that going on,
Yeah,
I don't think. I'd rather.
I'd much rather. I agree with you. I'm just like, but yeah, you're right. I think this needs a suspect test. It's not one of the most broken things, but it can be. Like,
Yeah.
there are some matchups where I'm like, well, this is over now. Great.
I think once things slow down a little bit more, things like Slowbro will start to rise up, which are not killed immediately, other than Thunder Punch. But
Thunder Punch doesn't kill immediately.
yeah, even then, that's still weak enough that Slowbro could take one and
Not
melt
kill it.
a chicken.
No.
I don't know. Scald, with how fragile it is and how much recoil it's taking,
It does
might
a
take
good
it out.
chunk, but it doesn't do enough.
Yeah, but I think this thing might need to. It might be okay, personally. I don't think it'll be quick banned.
So,
but
and this brings up another conversation with a lot of these mons aren't as broken as they are if you just get rid of their broken ability.
yeah,
Like, I would love to see like a meta where we can have Blaziken back, or
Yeah.
like if
Oh,
they
well.
if they deem Libero's Cinderace too strong, regular Cinderace with Blaze, or some other
Yep.
things. Just because if you can get rid of the ability, it's not that broken.
No ability, Genesect. There's the solution.
I mean then it's a Zygarde basically. Which let's hop into the dragons now because they're doing great magical things. So the first one, he's back. He's wearing black. He's Kyurem.
KB.
KB, the Ice Cube.
So with
And,
everything else that's broken, he's not as bad. He is still very good.
Yes.
I mean, 170 attack, and once you get the Dragon Dance in there, like it's scary, especially if it's a
thick.
Life Orb set.
Yeah. But if it's Life Orb, it's not heavy duty boots, so it's easy to revenge. I mean, there are pros and cons, so.
Yes.
With everything
It's one of those things that
else-
starts steamrolling. That's the scariest part about Kyurem is it starts steamrolling if the one or two checks or counters you have on your team get whittled down. It gets
Yeah, but that's the thing is you need that Dragon Dance though for it to do anything because it's lackluster stat. It's 95 speed.
Yeah.
lackluster.
I know, which is like,
95.
and that's the thing is even at +1,
Welcome to
I
OU.
don't think it. I think there are still things that outspeed it and kill it.
Well, yeah,
Namely Regieleki.
we'll get to him in a bit.
My least favorite mon in the team.
Yeah, but I think this one's fine. This is yet another thing that is stopped by Swampert. Just saying.
Freeze Dry.
Or at least checked.
It's checked.
Doesn't get it.
Most Swampert I'm running into right now are very passive, where it's Stealth Rocks,
Yes.
Toxic. It has Flip Turn now, so it's pivoting a lot, which is great for
That's
it.
what's so cool.
And then
I
you
think
like
Kyurem will eventually go.
I don't see it
Yeah,
sticking
I agree.
around. I think it's too much of a hole puncher. And that's kind of been like a no-go for Gen 8 so far. It just
It's just being
breaks things.
overshadowed by the bugs and steel types that are broken.
Yeah.
If you notice that everything we've talked about, Pheromosa, Genesect, Blaziken, prey on Kyurem.
Yes.
Yeah. For now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Qrem. Another dragon is back. Zygarde 50% is back now.
And I think this is the best one so far.
He's
Yeah.
probably not that bad right now.
Yeah, he's really not. And there are pros and cons. Like, Hidden Power Ice is gone, so Tangrowth can't stop it anymore. And as an example. But,
Triple Axle is here.
yeah.
Icicle Spear is here. Scale Shot is
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So there are more things like that to keep it in check. And,
Nosy
I mean,
moves.
the power creep, though. That base 100 attack, yeah, 1,000 arrows is cool, but that base 100 just is so hard to do anything without boosting.
Yes.
So,
That's the thing.
It's
It needs to have something else. Like, you need to either coil or Dragon Dance or be a stall set.
It's good at stalling stall because Glare is just so easy to abuse, and stall teams can't really break through the subs because it's invested not to be broken that easily. So it can actually it can be a problem for some stallier teams. I mean, hyper offense don't care about Zygarde; they usually will blast right through it just because it doesn't have the stats off the bat to break things. But
yeah.
I like him.
Like one hit from a Blaziken and then 1,000 arrows back. That's anything physical. A Zygarde can usually absorb one hit, but nah.
Yeah. He needs time to take off. Compared to a lot of the other things that can just kind of like, they're one move from going. Zygarde, if he's actually going to be an offensive powerhouse, he needs a couple of turns of.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have Z moves anymore, so he can't bypass that restriction.
Yes.
Yeah. He seems fine to me. Like this is one where once the meta sets, I need to see what he does before you can say like, oh, this is too broken, or he might actually stick around, or he needs a real test. And not just a quick ban.
I don't see him being quick banned at this point right now. I could see him being suspect tested as things develop, but I don't see a quick everything we've talked about so far, including Kyurem. I could see a quick ban happening. I don't see it happening for Zygarde. At least not right now. Not in the first wave.
No, definitely not. But let's talk about something that might be in that first wave. Naganodel, another dragon that's fallen from grace and is back in OU. Mm-hmm. And this one's really actually fallen from grace hard because it really depended on that Z Draco to really start taking off. Exactly. Yeah, it really needed that beast boost to really get going. Set up the plot once, Z Draco, and get the speed boost, and then just wipe out the rest of the team from there. But without Z Draco...
It got spikes and toxic spikes, and I've seen on some hyper offense teams, but like that's all I see it do. Like,
yeah,
and like it has no way to beat Heatran.
No,
that's the thing too. That's another thing keeping it in somewhat check. Because
Heatran is by far like, and we haven't even like I don't even think I'm not sure if he's even on this list of new things that are like broken back from OU, but it does so much work.
The god of OU.
I didn't think it was broken, but I like Heatran. I don't think he's broken compared to some of these things. Just because he's not. There's things that are eliminating him. He's not something that takes off and wins a game. He just kind of absorbs a lot. So that was the difference. Most of these things are like hyper off.
Most of the tier at least.
Yeah, he keeps a lot of the things that previously could just run through you in a second with one turn, like Magearna, like Naganodel, like Volcarona. He keeps all of them in check just merely by existing. So he's not broken by himself, but he has a really good effect on the tier.
Yes.
Yeah. But as far as Naganodel, I personally see this being quick banned.
Yep.
Because even without the Z Crystal, it's still a little bit too much. I've seen discussion. I haven't really gotten that far on the ladder to see it, or just I missed them. But I've seen a lot of discussion of it just plowing through teams way too easily with one single nasty plot boost. So I don't think it's going to last, but it's good to try it.
Yeah.
On to everybody's favorite, the Mighty Morphin Genies. And we'll start off with the big, bad, and ugly. We've got Landorus with both forms. It's got both of them back. The incarnate form that has been banned consistently in the past since it got Sheer Force, and obviously Therian that is astronomically worse this generation than ever before. But we'll start with the Sheer Force thing because nothing's different. It still sucks, and it's still two-shots everything.
Yeah.
Including your Blissey.
Except it gets walled by Celesteela and Corviknight.
Yeah, that's it. And it doesn't even if it runs Gravity.
Yep.
You're right.
Which is the fourth move most of the time now.
It's, Combine your Gravity. Whatever they feel like they need to destroy more.
Yeah. Yeah, and Gravity's more common from what I've been reading.
Yep. That's what I've been seeing.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Someone on the Smogon thread put it in a really good way. Landorus Eyes effect is that once it hits the field, the momentum immediately shifts to that player.
Yeah.
End of statement.
Unless you're under Trick Room.
Yeah. Which is what you've been playing this whole time, Claude.
Or you're up against the Mamoswine.
Yeah. In most situations.
Yeah.
That just by coming into the field, all of the momentum from the other player is immediately sapped to the Landorus player.
Yep.
The game turns into, how can I stop this?
Yeah.
That's why I've been running Chansey again, because Chansey does get outside that 2-hit KO range, which is nice, until they start combining. But usually I can stall out the Focus Blast until they start missing. But that's where I'm at with this thing, is that's my best answer, because to what could be a Gravity set or just not a Gravity set, I just flee to Chansey. But
yeah.
This thing's scary.
Yeah. And its brother, the Therian form, everyone's favorite, the previous thing that everyone wanted banned, doesn't suck, but it compared to what it used to be, definitely sucks. Like, I don't see Lando even being a problem. I see it being at 30% usage, maybe, but it can only do two things now. Like, it can be defensive and it can Scarf. That's it.
In this meta, it's not nearly as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. Like, I don't think this will be banned, and I don't think it'll be banned until, like, this
I don't think it'll be banned ever.
Yeah, I don't think
it'll be
banned.
a question.
And if it is, it won't be till after Zygarde, which is already a long way away.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's fine now, personally. As much as I've hated it before for being overused, not over-centralizing, but overused, it has a Heatran effect where it kind of checks a lot of things and keeps the meta in balance. And now that it can only run defensive and Scarf, like, there's no random Z-Fly coming at you live. And it has counters now. So this thing's not going anywhere, and it's not a problem.
I mean,
No, I don't see it being an issue. Even as things start to get banned and it climbs naturally because of things being eliminated, I don't see it taking off the way it has before. Just because it does, there's no pocket hidden at powers, ices. There's no, like you said, fly AMZs coming in to nuke something. Like, its roles have been lessened, and that's healthy for everyone. Everyone should be happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It, in combination with Heatran, are fantastic additions.
Yeah. I mean, the only other genie that I think that's worth talking about would be Tornadus Therian, because it got Nasty Plot and has a bunch of cool toys. Granted, it just...
And heavy-duty boots.
Yeah, and heavy-duty boots. But still isn't that good right now because of everything else that's busted.
Well,
Everything else is really keeping it in check. It was banned in Nat decks. Like, where Z moves and things like that are still allowed, yes, but... It wasn't banned for that. It was banned for the heavy-duty boots bouncing around all the time sets.
Yes, but you're also not in a meta where half these mons are legal. Like, in Nat decks, Naganodel, it doesn't exist. I don't think Zygarde's there.
No, I don't think Zygarde is there.
Kyurem Black, Blaziken, Genesect, Pheromosa, all of those are gone. Which is why it got banned. Because then its power rises. At the current moment, it's not there, but, like, I think eventually it will be busted. Once you start taking out everything else, it'll definitely drop down. And granted, it may not, simply because of Regieleki.
Yeah. Meh. And Coco, like, that'll keep it a little bit. But there are ways around it, but it's gonna be very good once it's settles down.
Its time is not here.
The power creep is a little too much right now for it, but it has a very good role, and that'll take off soon enough.
Yeah. The only other notable thing that is all three of them got access to Weather Ball, which is neat, I guess.
Thundurus likes
Thundurus
it.
can use it in rain, yeah. I've even seen a Landorus use it for a superpowered rock move in Sandstorm.
Oh, interesting.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like what Thundurus fits well on rain teams, because there's a lot of Zero Aura before where they just needed something to be able to absorb electric attacks. But Thundurus can take advantage of the rain too, which is fortunate because it has Thunder and it has Weather Ball, so it can throw out some good attack. Hurricane, so it can really play with that. I've been running into that a bit on ladder. So I see that being a new replacement for things like Kingdra, just because it has a good speed tier. It has all the things it needs to succeed. So I can see some fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Zapdos will overshine it because it finally got access to Hurricane. And it's got the same typing. It doesn't have the immunity that Therian does, but I still think Zapdos will outshine it on rain specifically, just because it gets a lot of stuff like that too.
Probably.
But, yeah.
All right.
So, wrapping up with the new things, we've got a couple more faces that are back from Ubers. We've got Magearna, Cinderace, and Melmetal, all back down doing stuff. And quite frankly, I haven't really seen them.
I see Melmetal the most right now.
I see Magearna the most.
Really?
Yeah.
None of them
What
are
Magearna do
having
you
good
see?
times with any of the ground mons that have shown up.
Yeah.
So they're getting obliterated by those.
And I think this is another case of they are very powerful mons, but in the current meta with all the other extremely busted things, I think they need a real suspect test. Because I look at Melmetal. Melmetal's not going to have a good time in front of Landorus, like regular Landorus or Landorus Therian and Zygarde that are around. Even Cinderace. Now that he has Libero. I think Melmetal can't deal with any of these things, or even Tornadus very well. Like, you think of all the big special attackers that we got, I don't think it's nearly as broken as it once was.
I don't think it was broken to begin with.
No, I was actually a little surprised he got kicked out the first time. I think he I don't know what's going to happen with the bunnies, Magearna and Cinderace, but I do think Melmetal is going to stick around this time. I don't see him getting kicked out. So unless Trick Room becomes a very popular set on Smogon, I don't see Melmetal being a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I agree with that.
I mean, other than that, I think Magearna is the most likely of the 3 to get banned again, eventually.
Yeah.
Just because
Cinderace and
Magearna can do
Melmetal
so
have
much.
very singular roles. I mean, there's some flexibility with Cinderace, but Melmetal basically does one thing. Cinderace does a couple of things, but
Yeah, and
Magearna,
Magearna
you don't know what you're running into. And
what's it? Jack of all trades.
Yeah, with great stats. So yeah, I could see Magearna not staying around, but I think Melmetal's here to stay in OU for the foreseeable future.
Same with Cinderace. Yeah.
I agree. So, moving on, we're going to start talking about the new toys that we got with Crown Tundra, specifically starting off with the new Pokemon. So, we've mentioned it a few times, and I was pleasantly surprised by how well this is actually doing. Regieleki.
I hate it.
Actually really cool. Like, 200 speed is ridiculous. Uninvested, it outruns like everything. That's with a modest nature and no EVs.
You have to have a 104 speed stat to beat it with a Scarf. Like neutral sets.
What?
To beat neutral sets, you have to have a 104 speed stat.
Oh
That's
my gosh.
That's how. And there's not a lot of things above 100 running a Scarf.
Scarf Garchomp can't outrun this with nothing.
No, there's just not a lot in the meta.
Mind blown.
Stop.
That's like what
Honestly,
that and
just Shadow
Kartana are
Ball.
like two of the only things that are like actually regularly running Scarfs that would outspeed this. Mm-hmm. It's gross.
Yeah, I've seen Latios running Scarf, mainly with Trick now, just to be annoying.
Yeah.
Or Specs. But yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, Regieleki is stupid, and it's grounded, so it's affected by electric terrain. And we talked about it, I think, earlier, but its ability, we've done the math, and it's a 50% boost to electric moves.
That's so dumb.
It's absolutely dumb.
Haven't they learned that giving something a 0.5, like a 1.5 boost is not good? See any of the 8s.
Yeah.
So it gets gross pretty quickly because you get the 50% boost from Transistor. You throw some specs on it because what other item? I mean, maybe Life Orb, but what other item are you going to possibly run on a Regieleki? You get it in some electric terrain, and then you run Rising Voltage. There's barely a thing in the meta that's surviving that.
You can two-shot Blissey, I think.
Oh, no,
I
100%
don't-
two-shot Blissey.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. I
sure.
don't think Chansey even survives.
But that's the thing is, your move pool though is so bad that like
It's
I think
garbage.
it's what
It's trash.
Your next coverage move is Swift.
I thought it was round, but yeah.
That's the best thing you can do to a ground type.
Does it get Hyper Beam?
It has Hyper Beam. No, it has Hyper Beam. It could Hyper Beam.
Does it?
Yep. But
I must have missed it.
No,
Oh,
I've tried using that once. I mean, it can work as like a please die, but
Yeah, but that's it. Like it only.
But even then, that's not very strong. It's only got base 100 special attack.
exactly. So like it does one thing, so it gets destroyed by any ground type.
and there's plenty of them.
Until you switcheroo a ring target on it.
No,
which is what
no,
you're seeing. So if you see a Klefki on a team with Regieleki, do not take the bait. Keep your ground Pokemon on the
Don't
bench.
do it.
Do
Run
not do it.
sticky hold Gastrodon.
That-
You don't have to worry.
That
I've seen
Klefki has
even
one
sneakier
goal.
things. I've seen ring target being run on things like Rotom Heat to lure ground types in,
Yep, I've seen that one. I
and
have a
then you
team with
just
it.
switcheroo the ring and Aleki the rest of it. I've seen some tricky stuff.
Aleki's scary because it's one of those things like you have to, I mean, it's fine enough right now because things like Zygarde and Landorus are back. So like you're pretty naturally going to be running ground types. Garchomps is there as well. So like it's not a huge issue. It's not Dracovish where it's like, crap, I need to run the Toad, or crap, I need to run Gastrodon because I have to have something to eat that water absorb.
I
But,
think
like-
you do though. I think it is like it's that fast and does so much damage that you need to have a good resist for it.
Well, yes, but
And but that's different because
my point is like there's things that exist in the meta that you want to run that are ground types.
You
There
want
wasn't
to
a
run
lot
a ground type anyway.
like
Yeah,
you didn't
or
want to
a
have to
bulk-
run
I
some
think
of the things
bulky
you're
Tapu
running.
Bulu might be able to survive a couple hits if it's especially defensive.
Sure, but it can't come in on it.
It might. I want to calc that.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean it's
Go for it while we talk about the next thing.
yeah, it's scary. So speaking of things with terrible
Yeah.
coverage, though,
Yeah, that's the thing with all these new Pokemon. It's like they're like, They forgot to finish the moves out.
Well, they're like they looked at his spread. They're like, yeah, you're broken. We're going to stop right here on the move pool.
You get one coverage move. You're welcome.
Modest Specs Thunderbolt has a 10% chance to 2-hit KO fully specially defensive Tapu Bulu.
With full HP?
Oh my gosh.
With full HP.
So,
What about a banned Wild Charge? I've seen physical being the skew now.
Probably less, because I don't know.
it does a lot.
It's probably the same amount of damage.
Probably close. But anyway, as far as Pokemon with terrible coverage, we've got Spectrier doing the thing that its big brother Calyrex Shadow Rider form is doing in Ubers, where except it's doing it badly, because it has no coverage. Spectrier has base 130 speed and 145 special attack?
Something very
right?
close to that, yeah. It speed ties
But-
with Tapu Koko. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, but its only moves are Shadow Ball and Dark Pulse
It gets Mudshot.
and Mud Shot.
And
The fact that that's third, though, on the list as far as usable moves.
It has no
that's-
coverage, but there was a very popular set with Dragapult that was just using like Hex as an attack, and it was very potent. So this works if you can play with it. If you have ways to address like Blissies, this can be a good win condition as a Scarf
I think it
set.
has more tools than Regieleki.
It has more tools. It can actually it can do things in the game, because if you're running a subset or a hex set, you can start throwing on some Will-O-Wisps, or you can start PP stalling and trying to set up. So it's scary.
This is another concern. Like, if you aren't running a normal type or a resist, this gets out of hand really fast. I see people scarfing their Spectrier.
Oh, that's very common to scarf
Really?
it.
Yeah. To outpace other Spectriers.
I didn't know that.
And to outpace Regieleki. Because you're not going to scarf that. And you just click Shadow Ball and everything goes down unless you run, like, specially defensive T-Tar or a normal type.
Yeah.
You want to know Mandibuzz
Or
is coming
Audino.
back. Special defense Mandibuzz is on the rise again, as a way to
of
kind of
this,
deal with Spectrier. Yeah, but if you're running the disable set, which is what I'm using right now, so you have Shadow Ball, Disable, Nasty Plot, Substitute, you can get around it. You can disable its knockoff or its foul play, and then go right back under the sub, and then keep Nasty Plotting. And eventually, once you get to your +6, which isn't that hard to do, you're 2-hit KOing the Mandibuzz. And the Mandibuzz, unless it has double dark, so it has to have knockoff and foul play, unless it has both of those, you can stall it out. It's gross.
Dragapult, everyone using Dragapult run max speed now. You have to.
You have to.
No choice.
Who's
Dragapult's
that?
actually still pretty good.
I haven't seen
really,
it.
honestly.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
It's
It's been new toy syndrome, but it's
Yeah.
still really
I know.
good.
Yeah.
It's going to be on the rise as subsets take off. I mean, if Sub-Zygarde continues to take off, it's going to come back strong because Infiltrator, and it's good speed stat. So it's something I don't see going anywhere, especially as things get kicked out. And I imagine Zygarde makes more and more of a presence. It'll become a more regular check to Zygardes.
Yeah, it's immune to extreme speed, so it stops the band set, at least in that way, or if it runs that as quote-unquote coverage.
Yeah.
Pro tip, don't run Dragon Darts anymore. It used to be what you run so you could bot Blissey, but between not being able to one-shot Zygarde and tank Garchomp, run Draco. Go full Timid.
Yep.
Pro tip. You're welcome.
It's back to timid sets. Timid sets, so you can Will-O-Wisp things you don't like Garchomp or Zygarde, because you don't care about the sub, or you can just go straight to the spec set again. So that'll be fun. Its hex set has been outclassed by Spectrier at the moment, just because Spectrier has a much more usable special attack set, and it can start taking off once it gets KOs because of that Moxie-esque boost.
Yeah. But I want to talk about the other horse that I have really enjoyed, which is Glastrier. And it has decent coverage. It has incredible bulk. But where it shines is on Trick Room. Because if you can get 3 turns of Glastrier just one-shotting everything, because it is that powerful where it can, things just start snowballing out of control. And it gets to the point where they bring in their counter, or they're bringing something after Trick Room's over to try and kill it, and they can't. Because it is so bulky.
It's got base 130 defense.
I think it's 130 defense, 100 HP. And you're obviously running full HP, so what's one hit KOing that?
I think it,
and 110 special defense.
I don't remember if Genesect's Iron Head from a Choice Band killed it.
I think that should, but I don't know.
I don't know if that did kill it or did 80%.
Yeah,
That
something
I
like
can-
that.
What's scary about Spectre Air too, for physical things that are like, for offensive things, like it has a really good type combination. So it has ice, and then it has good access to fighting, because close combat and ground with high horsepower.
Close combat, heavy slam.
It's got moves.
Mega
There's
Horde,
not a,
like, it can
there's
do
not a
what it
lot
needs to.
that wants to come in on what its move pool options are. There's not a lot of options to come in and tank a hit and not be over 50% health gone, which just makes it, which fits really well on Trick Room teams, because you're just all about keeping momentum and steamrolling and taking away what can counter some stuff. So it's a really scary thing on hard Trick Room. I see it every time I see a Trick Room team, it's on there. 100% always on there.
It's the new, like, big Trick Room mod.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. We've got one more new thing, and then we're going to do rapid fire through some of the old things coming back.
Yeah.
So the brand new thing is Galarian Zapdos. It's got Halucha's typing, which makes me just so happy. Mm-hmm. And it's got a ridiculous, stupid move in Thunderous Kick that hits and lowers the opponent's defense. Bulk Up is doing really good. Choice Scarf is doing really good, where it just can consistently break things apart that aren't ghosts.
But it's still slower than Regieleki.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, that's everything. That's not a...
Even with a scarf.
Yeah, still though, it's very, very good.
Yeah.
Seen on a lot of hyper or more offensive teams, maybe not hyper, but a lot of them.
It's on a lot of hyper
kind
offense.
of it's a better Bisharp in a sense.
Yeah.
It's one of those fun
even though it doesn't
lead-offs
have priority.
too, that just like that just punches a hole immediately. I've seen it happen a lot, where they come in immediately and just try to punch a hole in you, because band is scary.
It's definitely not bad. Like, it's the best of the Galarian birds.
Currently.
Absolutely.
What do you mean currently?
Well, I think when things are gone, I think Articuno is going to have a better time.
No, I disagree. I think this will have a better time than Articuno in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Anyway, let's rapid fire through some of the old things coming back. Not Claude, pardon me. McGee, you've mentioned Moltres a couple of times. I want you to tell me why that one's good.
Moltres is a blast right now because Heavy Duty Boots has changed its game. Because now what used to be the issue was like it could defog and do some support, but like it could never come in when rocks were up unless it was like super safe to do so. But now it doesn't care. It has Heavy Duty Boots on. It just pivots in and out at will, avoids knockoffs, which aren't that prevalent at the moment. And so it has defog, it has roost, so it can keep healthy, but then it has a new move, Scorching Sands. So things that were normally just didn't care about it before, things like Heatran, now have issues because it can run with just like around 88 to 100 special attack. It can 2-hit KO most Heatrans, even like the super specially defensive ones. So it has ways to break holes in teams. And then the best part, which talks about some of the things at the top, is its flame body ability. So those bugs aren't having a good time. Pheromosa can't do anything about this.
Anything that wants to U-turn has to risk a flame body.
Yep. Including Cinderace, which you're not seeing a bunch of at the moment. But when Cinderace has to have Gunk Shot or Cinderace can't do a thing to Moltres. Pheromosa has to have Ice Beam, and it has to be like a Moltres under 50%, or it can't stop Moltres. Like, it's just...
it's the same thing with Zapdos, with Static.
Yep.
Like, and that's the reason why Zapdos is still doing well even in this meta, is because it is arguably as bulky. If not, I think it might be a little bit bulkier than Moltres. But
yeah, and it's really hard to kill Zapdos too without getting something paralyzed. Like, it's really hard to avoid paralysis on it. Same thing with Moltres. It's really hard to pivot it around in games and not get inflicted by the flame body. Things like Melmetal have to do a very predictive Thunder Punch on a Moltres switch in, because if they double Iron Bash, it's like about a 50% chance they're walking out of that with a burn. So a lot of things that were normally like very aggressive, like physical attacks, now have risk associated to them, which is great. Urshifu gets more reliably burned, and you can invest in a way so it doesn't one hit KO even with banned. And I think the set I'm running right now is like 252 HP, 156 defense, about around 100 special attack. Bold Nature, and so it survives like a double boosted, like 2 Swords Dances Blaziken. It'll take a close combat and kill it back with Scorching Sands. It can 2-hit KO Mole's Heatran. So like it takes a lot of things, and it's just really scary effective at the moment, to the point, which is something that I think that speaks to it. We're at the point now where things are running counters to it. Like, we're seeing a lot of Genesects running Thunderbolts or Douse Drives to be able to address Moltres, because Moltres is just burning them all game long, and it's becoming a real frustration. And so I think that speaks to how exciting of a time Moltres is having. I saw how Lucha's with Stone Edges now. That's where we got into. Because Moltres would just sit in on it, because what's acrobatics is it'll probably leave it with a burn. Close combat's not going to make any progress. So they're running Stone Edge now to address Moltres. Like, it's just really exciting to see.
And Zapdos.
Yeah, and Zapdos. I mean, yeah, they're one and the same. But things that would normally Moltres wasn't something that you expect to be a problem, but it's really shining right now in the current meta. So I'm happy about that.
I would say the same thing with Heatran. Like, these defensive fire types are doing really, really well, mainly because of the bugs. But Heatran can even run Flame Body. I've seen it run Flame Body for the same reason that Moltres does, because you have to risk it. But Heatran's mainly there because it breaks down all of the walls. It can wall some offensive dragons, potentially if they don't have ground coverage or water coverage, and then it can beat almost every wall with a combination of Taunt and Magma Storm.
Yep.
I'm even seeing a whole bunch of eruptions just because it does so much damage.
And now it's not nature locked.
Exactly. I mean...
I didn't realize it was nature locked before.
Yep, it was nature locked to quiet. It was an event move, and now we've got mints, so we're good there.
Oh, gross.
But continuing the rapid fire, we've got the Tapus, which did not get the Isle of Armor moves. Thank God. They are fine. They don't have things like Rising Voltage, Expanding Force, and
Flip Turn.
Flip Turn and Grassy Glide. They barely got anything. So Coco and Lele are fine.
That's about it.
Yeah, Bulu got close combat. That's
no play rough, no Grassy Glide. He's actually having a pretty
Did Lele get
unpleasant...
Mystical Fire?
Yep.
No.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they got nothing. Yeah. Hardly anything at all changed except close combat for Bulu and Draining Kiss for Feeny. Those are really the only things.
They're okay right now, but
yeah,
like they do
fine.
They're similar things as they used to always be able to do.
They're still basically support Pokemon. Garchomp is back. It's running its standard 2 types of sets, either super hyper crazy Swords Dance offense with maybe Scale Shot now to make a semi-Dragon Dance.
100% Scale Shot Swords Dance.
Or Tank Garchomp, just to be thick. We've got Zapdos, we've mentioned a couple times, which I'm personally running on every team just because of how much I abhor Hawlucha and now Hawlucha 2. So, that's a thing. It also is a pretty good counter to a lot of ugly nasties in the tier.
I'm a big fan of Kartana because it's still a good Scarper.
Yeah, that's a thing that Zapdos counters because they don't have Z moves.
No, Kartana I think is still very useful because I think Scarf, it can beat through some of these mons like Spectrier and Regieleki, I think it's faster than it. I think it can be faster.
Yeah, it definitely can be faster. Blacephalon's back. It did not get Scorching Sands like we thought it would, so that's a good thing. Heatran can still stop it, in a sense. The Latios are back. Latios is the one that's seeing a lot more play now because that couple extra, that base 20 special attack does a lot.
Latios will drop to UU and will live there.
Yeah, it'll break UU as it has in the past.
Yeah.
Latios is good. The Aura Sphere Mystical Fire editions are incredible for it. So
Mystical Fire is huge because things that would normally have a chance at sitting in on it, like specifically Ferrothorn, now have to abandon. Like they just can't sit there and knock off or Leech Seed the way they could before because Latios didn't have a way to address it. Except like what, Ice Beam?
And Pursuit's not here.
And Pursuit.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're having a much better time.
Yeah, Latios might end up getting banned somewhere far down the line. But another dragon that's doing well, actually, is Dragonite with a variety of sets, mainly because Heavy Duty Boots keeps the multi-scale intact, so that's really cool.
Either it's hyper offense or tank. It's the same as Garchomp.
Exactly, yeah. It's got the Dragon Dance, and since we have the ability Patch, that makes Heal Bell legal on it, as we mentioned last month, so you can make a really funky Cleric set, which has, like, Thunder Wave, Heal Bell, Roost, and some attacking move of whatever you want.
Speed.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Clefable. It's just got a lot of roles it can run, so it can fit a lot of team needs depending on what you need it to do. It can be very defensive and very supportive, like a Clefable can, or it can actually start running some very offensive sets. I've seen some that are like just keep subbing, and then they set up a bunch of Dragon Dances, and now it has finally a good physical stab option with dual Wing Beat. So it has a way to actually, like, because I mean, all those Dragon moves, I think what it had, Dragon Claw was its best, his safest option was Dragon Claw before.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Because he had like other things, but they all had some risks associated. So now he can dual Wing Beat pretty reliably, and that does some good damage. So
Yeah, it's a great Blaziken's top too.
yeah, it'll rise more as Kyurem and the bugs get kicked out because it doesn't like all their ice moves right now. And so once those
They're
things,
multi-hit ice moves.
yes, specifically those. So once those disappear a little bit, it's going to keep rising. I mean, you see it now a bit, but it's got that problem where it can't really address ice, and it's very prevalent.
Yeah. And then we've got Celesteela. Meh, it's okay. It's still going to be pretty good, which breaks my heart because I love Celesteela, but Corviknight does its job more efficiently with reliable recovery, so oh well. And we've got Victini, who's being all sorts of tricky. Fun fact, Victini now just learns V-Create, so that's cool.
Great.
But it also learns Scorching Sands, which means Heatran's no longer a counter. Yay!
Yay. I mean, it had Focus Blast
yeah.
before, but that was obviously...
Yeah, exactly. But, like, if I want to pick a winner from this, from what I've been seeing, Swampert is really cool. It's such cool roll compression.
Yep.
With Flip Turn, you even have ways to get out and of grass things, which don't really exist at the moment, but they'll be back.
I think it'll drop to UU, and we'll live there.
I don't. Not yet. I think it's
Not
better.
yet. I think it'll stay for a little bit, but I think its home will be in UU.
Bulky waters tend to bounce around a lot, so it'll as certain issues come and needs to address. Like if Heatran continues to take off, like obviously Swampert's going to be here.
Yeah.
Because there's
Fun
no
fact:
hidden power
Swampert does have the highest base stat total of all the starters. Fun fact.
What is it by like?
Yeah,
isn't
but,
it by
like,
like 5 or something?
535. Yeah, they're all within like 5 or 15.
You still have to
points
think
of
though.
each
This
other.
is still a meta that like there's still Rillaboom, and there's still Tapu Bulu, and there's Kartana.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of
call it
grass
and
types
flip
that-
turn out.
Okay,
It's a good moment. It's for a.
you're
for
right.
a
Just play
wallier-
better. That's the counter.
For
Your
a
wall has momentum. It's crazy.
For a bulkier water wall, like to actually have momentum is pretty exciting because most
And
of the,
like coming on a Specs Regieleki, and it has to switch out. Like it has no choice. So you flip turn on whatever they switch out to, and now you have a counter. You suck momentum back from electric spam teams.
it's a good lead
great.
too if your opponent doesn't have grass, because I've been running. I don't have grass on my team right now, and I keep running into Swamperts, and so like I know it's getting led, and I don't have a good way to address it. I mean I lead my Ferrothorn, but my Ferrothorn doesn't have Power Whip, so I'm just I'm taking off its leftovers so I can slowly whittle it down, but it just pivots around a lot and it's hard to deal with. So I like Swampert. I think he's going to rise in popularity. Just because he's good roll compression. We don't need the water absorb that Dracovish was doing, or not Dracovish, that Seismitoad was doing before, and so it just has a good presence as a good stealth rocker and pivoter.
Yeah. What's your biggest winner out of all this, P McGee?
I mean, I'm really big on Dragonite right now. I think he's going to rise. I'm really happy about Moltres. I mean, I spent a long time talking about Moltres. I'm excited to see Buzzwole some more. We haven't really gotten a chance yet. I think Buzzwole is going to be
I
a
like
really
Buzzwole.
exciting addition because Urshifu is going to be a problem again. It's been a little quiet right now just because everything new toy syndrome related. But Urshifu still is really, really good. Buzzwole doesn't care about any of its stab attacks. It doesn't really care about Poison Jab or Iron Head all that much. You basically were forcing an Urshifu to run Aerial Ace if they want to address Buzzwole. But this gives you an offensive check, not even check, an offensive counter to Urshifu, which is actually pretty exciting. Something that can come in, absorb the blow, and then fire something pretty strong back at whatever comes in. I'm excited about more Buzzwole. It just needs some of the, you don't want to run that as your bug right now. If you're running a bug, you want to run Pheromos or a Genesect most of the time. So it's just not seeing the usage, but it's going to rise.
Yeah, we'll get there. How about you, Claude? What's your biggest winner?
Garchomp. It got Scale Shot. It lost Hidden Power as a move itself. Heavy Duty Boots are something that could be run. I think it's my big winner right now just because it got what it was needed, which is a way to boost speed effectively, and it can be a tank. It can do everything, and it can do it better now.
I've heard whispers of Garchomp running Scorching Sands.
Oh my god! I ran into a special set today. It obliterated me. I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready. I think my Ferrothorn got fire blasted, so I went in with my Garchomp like, okay, whatever, I'll win the speed tie, or if there's a speed tie, and then it Draco Meteored me and killed my Garchomp.
Yep.
And I was like, why?
Special Garchomp.
Why are you special? It was brutal.
It's so funny. Yep. So as far as that, I think we've kind of covered OU as quickly and efficiently as we can. I'm thinking that by this time next month, we'll no longer have to worry about Genesect, Pheromosa, Naganodel, Kyurem Black, or Landorus I. That's my
Those would be the first
list.
I wouldn't have Naganodel on that list. I'd have Blaziken over Naganodel, but other than that, those top 5.
Yeah. Those are interchangeable at that. Definitely Genesect.
Pheromosa, Lando I are the top 3 in my mind.
Yeah.
Some council members have been talking about Naganodel being problematic. So that might carry more weight. I think that's the reason it gets talked about is some of the council members don't like it as much. And so if they're not liking it and they're the ones deciding the quick bans, then Naganodel doesn't seem long for the world.
Yep.
So that's my take on it as well. The bugs are gone. I mean, enjoy them while you can, but the bugs definitely aren't staying.
Yeah. No. All right. So I think we'll cut it there. It was kind of a rapid fire. We've got so much to talk about with this, and as you could tell. So join us on Discord and all that kind of stuff to talk more about it, or just hop in Smogon and see it evolving live in front of you. But what we're going to do now is we're going to cut. We're going to go to a team of the episode that P McGee has put together for us to get us through this weird landscape for at least the next couple of weeks. So we will be right back.
And now for the flavor of the month.
And we are back with P McGee's team that he's been piloting on the ladder. So we'll let him start us off. What you got for us, P McGee?
Yeah, so up at the top, we've got Spectrier with the leftovers, Grimnay as the ability, 252 special attack, 252 speed, timid nature, and then because it has basically one option, it's running Shadow Ball as the main attack, Nasty Plot, Disable, and Substitute. And so this does really good against choice-locked things you outspeed, or things like Clefable that typically only have Moonblast, where you can sub behind something, take the hit, drop the Disable, and then sub again and start Nasty Plotting, and then they have to switch something in and bunt it. You can, if you play it right, 1v1 Mandabuzzes, install them out and get all your boosts up, and then eventually KO the Mandabuzz. It just turns into a really efficient win condition a lot of the time, especially once you take out some of their speedier Scarfers, if they exist. You know, things like Extreme Speed, Genesect aren't bothering it. So it's having a really, really fun time if you can pivot around some of the problems, which are mostly normal types. And then that's a fun-looking Spectrier. We've also got Moltres, who, again, I've been really, really high on right now. I think it'll drop off some usage as the bugs get banned. But right now, it does a really great job with heavy-duty boots, Flame Body for that 30% burn rate, 252 HP, something like 168 defense, 88 special attack. You can play with those a little bit. Bold Nature, Flamethrower for an okay stab attack, Scorching Sands to bop the Heatrans and get predictive burns on some physical switch-ins that don't want to get burned, things like a Garchomp or Swampert, because that's a thing now. And then Roost and Defog, just so you can keep healthy and clear off hazards.
Very cool. Round 2, Claude, what you got for us?
We got Ferrothorn with leftovers, Iron Barbs, 252 HP for attack, 252 defense, Relaxed Nature for Trick Room, 0 speed IVs with Knockoff, Gyro Ball, Leech Seed, and Stealth Rock. It's your standard defensive Ferrothorn for all those defensive hits. Yeah, pretty much. And it's mainly to stop Kyurem Black from going nuts. That's why there's Gyro Ball. And we also have Garchomp with a Life Orb, Rough Skin. This is an offensive Garchomp with 252 attack, 4 special defense, and then 252 speed, with Jolly Nature, Scale Shot, Sword Stance, Rock Slide, and Earthquake. Yeah.
Very good. Very good standard old Garchomp. So on to the next standard old thing. We've got Chansey holding an Eviolite, because that specifically allows it to live Landorus I after Calm Mind, right?
No,
is that what it was?
Calm Mind sets will still get it, but it won't get 2 KO by
That's right.
by Focus Blast as is.
By Focus Blast.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I needed the assist. Call a friend. Eevee's 248 HP, 252 defense, 8 special defense with a bold nature, as most Chansey all run. Moveset, Thunder Wave, Soft Boiled, Seismic Toss, and Aromatherapy. Very standard Chansey. I guess you could put Stealth Rock on this. I don't know. Whatever. And then finally, we have my personal favorite set out of all of this. It's Magearna 2.0. It's Tapu Fini, holding leftovers with the Misty Surge ability, obviously, and 252 HP, 84 defense, 172 special defense with a Calm Nature. Those can be played around with a little bit. For instance, if I was running it, would run enough to outrun a certain Heatran, but that's just me. Calm Mind, Stored Power, Iron Defense, and Draining Kiss. It's the set that made Magearna just bonkers, but it's done on a Tapu Fini that doesn't have to worry about ground types and has status immunity for as long as it's on the field with Misty Terrain. So that's a cool one. I really want to try that out, actually.
It's been fun. I feel like I took off more with Magearna, but with what's in the meta right now, Tapu Fini does a better job.
Yeah. I mean, you could almost set up on a non-Thunder Punch Blaziken with this thing, so. Because you get rid of the what Electric Trainer might have had, and you can Iron Defense on it. Then Draining Kiss to heal everything back.
And it's not common
neutral,
enough yet
but,
where
yeah.
people make mistakes all the time. They don't realize what it's trying to do until it's too late. And that's always really fun. When the epiphany happens after like the third Calm Mind after an Iron Defense, they finally realize what's about to happen. It's too late. It's a good moment.
Oh, no. That's so fun. I love that. I'm so excited to try that. The only thing that makes it different is it doesn't have the Soul Heart, but oh well.
Yeah.
But that is the team, and you've been having fun with it, McGee. I mean, it looks hilariously fun.
It's worked out well for me. I think I got to like 24th in the last couple of days on ladder with it. And the thing I like about it the most is nothing on here is getting kicked anytime soon. So it's not, the team isn't going to be unusable by next week. It might not be optimized anymore, but it'll be usable by next week. Nothing on here is getting banned tomorrow or over the weekend. So that's why I wanted to promote it, is because that's something you could probably play around with for most of the month and not have any issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this will be a fun month for all of us as we see things start to settle. Next month will be even crazier because all the ladder tier shifts are going to happen. We'll have some bans under our belt, I imagine. And we'll be back and trying to absorb all of it. So.
Yeah, my guess right now is the first ban will all come in November.
Yep.
November 1st will be all of the bans.
Yeah.
With the tiers.
Not November 1st. It'll be the tier shift 1, but I think the bans will happen about 2 weeks after that, personally.
Oh, no, I think like the big bans of like Genesect and all those things will all happen. They're going to make one tier change. Be like, all right, well, this is OU. These things moved up from OU because of usage.
Yeah.
That's my call right now.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, that could be. Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, that's been the October Battlecast. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you want some more Puckly goodness, we have a regular show that you've probably heard about that comes out every Monday on the main feed, not this one. We've also got other things like TCG Cast, Game Corner, and the Puckle Rewind show that come out on this Puckle Plus feed every Thursday of the month for the most part. If you want some more interaction and things like that, you can hop on over to our Discord server. That's where the magic happens. You can talk with us directly there. Maybe even play some games like Dynamax Adventures or even random Jackbox or Among Us nights. You can join in on those over there. Follow us on our socials. Facebook and Twitter are the big ones. Not Facebook. What's the other? Instagram, Twitter are the big ones. Facebook is kind of there. We're getting there. But yeah, that's the social media plugs. And until next month, I have been Seth Vilo.
I've been Clod9.
And I have been P McGee.
And we'll see you next month when the dust has settled a little more.
Time in Lavender Town. Time to say our goodbyes. It's closing time. Farewell, my friends. I'll catch you on the flip side.